Good morning. So yesterday, our author counted the day as day 18b. So we will just keep continuing on in the same number system that he has. So today would be 19, even though he added that one in. So this chapter is called Contagious Touch, Mark 2:15. That's how Jesus came to be sitting at home with lots of tax collectors and sinners. And the Pharisees, of course, continue to see him doing this, and they're saying, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? So this is a little bit about the Pharisees today. Who were the Pharisees really? Why were they so often butting heads with Jesus? So contrary to popular belief about Pharisees' legalistic ways to get into heaven, that's not actually what their primary concern was. They were looking at the here and now, especially as it pertains to adherence to Torah, as a political and social statement with significant cultural implications. So basically, this is our way of life. We are sacred people living a sacred way. We must live this way, especially on certain issues. And you might be able to guess easily, like breaking the Sabbath to do work or associating with certain people like tax collectors and sinners. So Jesus, of course, is a natural boundary breaker because he is redefining the rules about who is in and who is out, like the Pharisees did, except he's redefining it as who was solely in and out with himself, because of course he is the Messiah. And Jesus sharing a meal with outsiders like tax collectors and sinners, and some scriptures even say crooks and riffraff. Sharing a meal with outsiders was one of the primary ways of welcoming them in to his fellowship, to relationship with him. So popular thought today, or popular thought in Jesus' day for the Pharisees, was that sin was contagious. That's why you didn't hang out with those kind of people. Sin is what made people suffer, sin that kept the Messiah from coming, and that was a big one. So according to some Pharisees, if there was any hope at all from deliverance, it was because they had successfully protected themselves and their people from the viral and foreign contagion of sin. So again, the Pharisees are thinking, if our people would stop sinning, we protect ourselves by sticking to the letter of the law of Torah, the Messiah will come. So the Messiah wasn't going to show up if they were going to keep living like the nations around them, especially not the Romans. And for Jesus, though, sin wasn't the most contagious thing in the world. He was. And one theologian that he relates to talks about that the holiness of Jesus was actually very contagious. And then he talks about the woman who has been bleeding for 12 years, and the woman touches the tassels on his garment and she's healed. And interestingly enough, so in that day, the Pharisees would have said her touching him, even his tassel, would have made him unclean. And the reversal is profound. Interestingly enough, with this tassel as well, tassels that the Torah instructed every devout Jewish person to wear as an ever-present reminder of their unique and holy calling as the people of God. So it's just a little interesting fact that, she touching his tassel would have made him unclean according to their interpretation, but the tassels that represent their holy calling is what she touches, and what she feels the healing through, even though the tassel didn't heal her, Jesus did. So being holy wasn't just about avoiding the contagious effect of sin. It most certainly wasn't about avoiding contact with a particular kind of people. No, Jesus showed us that holiness is about how we treat others, especially those who are suffering, those who are different, those who may well be outsiders to your way of living, your way of voting, your way of believing. We have to remember that Jesus would always invite people to have a meal, to have a conversation with him. And it didn't matter if they were a tax collector, a zealot, a, um, a Canaanite woman. He would invite people in because he knew that it was his being, his holiness, that was more contagious than anything else in the world. So, are we being contagious as well?